So I've worked with more bands than I can count at this point, and I've noticed a bit of a trend. A lot of bands really struggle to get out of the beginner phase and kick their career into second gear. And I've noticed that a lot of these bands are really making the same mistakes. So if you don't know, my name is Adam, and I'm a producer and a studio owner who's worked with artists big and small, helping them make their best music. And if that's something that you're into, go ahead and subscribe because I post a new music-related video every single Friday. So let's dive into some of the mistakes that you will want to avoid if you are looking to grow your band and turn it into a career. Now, this first mistake is a big one that I see a lot with creative types, the true artists. But it's something that we can all improve when it comes to our own music careers, and that is looking at marketing, artwork, content, your band's image as non-creative work. So if you look down on making video content, on posting social media posts, promoting your band, basically anything that will help you grow and gain attention, and then you are making that surprised Pikachu face when your band has zero hype, well, I think you already know what I'm gonna say. I can't even count the amount of artists that I've talked to who tell me that they're having trouble getting eyeballs on their music. But when I ask them, hey, are you running ads? Are you hustling shows? Are you posting content on every platform that you can? And they say no? Well, that's pretty wild. So unfortunately for some, but fortunately for others, building an audience is on the artist now a lot of times. Label development budgets are shrinking daily, and they now want artists to be running their own marketing and building an audience before they're even interested. So unfortunately, nobody is going to do it for you anymore. I know that it really sucks that artists are expected to be content creators and marketers too, but it's also the reality of the situation at this point. I find that building a world around your music with things like videos, logos, your image, photo shoots, video shoots, that can all be an extension of your creative process. So if you can reframe it this way, you might find it easier to make it a part of your self-expression instead of just thinking about it like it's a chore. Now, mistake number 2 is another one that lots of bands start to fall into, but once the egos take over, well, it's a big problem. And that mistake is not dividing and conquering. So photography, videography, designing show posters, handling business expense reports, even production and mixing, these are all things that are greatly helpful for band members to learn how to do. So if there are 5 people in your band and each of you pick a lane to master, in a year you'll have access to a dope photographer, a great producer, an amazing accountant, whatever it is. So instead of divvying up every responsibility, let people do what they're the best at. Not everyone should be posting on your band's Instagram every week if that's not something they vibe with. Not everyone is going to help with recording or songwriting. But if everyone just nails what they're good at, then you'll be rocking in no time. And some people's strength is being what we call a backseat Barry, which is basically just showing up dependably, offering feedback and opinions, and just playing your parts properly. If you start to keep score of who is doing what, doing mental math to figure out who's contributing the least, and then just complaining about them and pushing them out, you're entering treacherous territory. I've lost count of the number of super bands, basically all the people that are the ones that actually do something, quote unquote, in their bands, linking up to start a project, and then they've started and stopped because the clash of the egos gets too hard to manage. So have realistic expectations about your band, understand that not everyone is going to be good at everything, and that's okay. Now, mistake number 3 is one that drives me absolutely nuts every time I see it, because a lot of artists that have really good potential seem to squander it once they start letting their manager handle everything. So if you're just starting out, chances are you do not need a manager at all, especially someone that has enough time and energy to dedicate it to your brand new band that has really not much going on. If they don't have lots of connections and skills that will help you right off the bat, I think you're honestly better off handling management yourself, and here's why. For one, A lot of new bands will find or hire a manager that's just someone that they know, and then basically just use it as an excuse to be lazy and do nothing for themselves. If you aren't getting gigs or opportunities, but your manager is working on it, then you can just coast and wait for something to come through. And second, at the local level, it's almost more annoying to filter everything through a quote unquote manager, and they might be losing you opportunities because they're annoying to talk to or they're just dropping the ball somewhere. So instead of having a manager who is just your homie, maybe just have that homie help you with real tasks one at a time. If they're down to help you film content or manage your inboxes or reply to comments or help with logistics, that's awesome. But you should just pay them for their time instead of giving them a managing, controlling stake in your band. Now, mistake number 4 is one that is really exhausting, and it is the number one way to drain all of your band's energy and will to live. And that is playing every single show that gets offered to you. If you play 30 ticketed shows a year in your hometown, your draw will start to dwindle big time. It is fun to play out, but if you're trying to play every single chance that you get, you're going to start to get burnt out really quick. There's only so many times that you can load and unload the trailer and stay up until 3 a.m. to make $40 split 4 ways after playing for basically the sound person and your partners. Obviously, playing shows has its upsides, but if you get stars in your eyes every time you get a show offer and move mountains just to make it happen, only to just barely cover your gas money, you're going to get worn out on playing shows really quick. Now, number 5, this last one is a big one, and I've seen it happen time and time again. And if I'm honest, I've been guilty of falling for this one as well. And that is falling for scammy opportunities that are too good to be true. If you want me to make a video about some of the stupid scamish things that I've gotten wrapped up in, let me know, because I will embarrass myself for you. But anyway, things like contests that take tons of work only for the prize to be disappointing. Pay-to-play shows. Showcases where you play for nobody in particular, just about every battle of the bands. These are things that will cause so many bands to spin their wheels and open up their wallets and eventually get demoralized when their efforts don't lead to any real return. So, don't say I didn't warn you. If you make these mistakes, that's on you, baby. And if you're in a band, watch this video next to learn the do's and don'ts of the recording studio, and I'll see you next week.